What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is April 21st of 2018. Well, folks, as you can probably tell right off the bat in regards to the density in my voice, I'm obviously sick at the moment. I just got back from Chiang Mai, Thailand, where I had a great time, but the trip back wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. It was 30 plus hours of layovers and flights, so it wouldn't surprise me if I caught something along the way. So I apologize if it's not going to be the most energetic daily update, but nonetheless, we still have some interesting things to talk about. And whereas my nose may be red and stuffy, at least crypto markets are in the green. So I'm going to be mainly focusing on price action today and talking about the current status of crypto markets over the past few days, but also along with that as well, we have some interesting headlines. So let's not wait any longer, guys, and dive right into it. So first and foremost, today's been pretty generally neutral comparative to the past few days where we've seen a lot of upside action. We obviously have some players in the green, Game.com really coming out of nowhere after news in regards to Tron, and Bitcoin Private gaining some traction to almost $1 billion valuation. Along with that as well, Aeon and Zilliqa killing it. The protocol's doing quite well here, as well as a few other players across the board, but most are currently in the red across the board. So again, first in the past few days where we're finally starting to see a little bit of corrective price action. So let's go ahead here, take a little bit of look here in regards to current market valuations. Again, we have had a serious increase over the past month, guys, going from around $250 billion in market valuation up to almost $400 billion. We're currently sitting around $380 billion. So I mean, $130 billion in gains, not bad for cryptocurrency markets at the current moment. Along with that as well, it's not just seen in Bitcoin, we're seeing it in altcoins. And to really show that, let's go ahead and take a look at market dominance, because I think it's important to note. One thing that we've been keeping really keen on, guys, is the specific levels of market dominance that we're looking out for in these markets. And we've been pretty accurate, generally speaking, in regards to these different levels. So much like how we were talking about how we'd hope to see Bitcoin market dominance rest out around 45%, we got that, and we have continued to see the decline of Bitcoin comparative to altcoins. So we can see the majority is coming in through other coins. We're almost back to December levels, and we're also seeing it across the board in some market leaders. Now, many people might say, well, Nick, is that a cause for concern? Does that mean that altcoins are going to correct? Does it mean that altcoins have had too much of a run up now that we're back to December levels? Well, I don't really think that's the case. We might get maybe a little short-term correction, guys, as we'll take a look at in regards to Bitcoin and general crypto markets. But for the most part, I think we're just really getting started with this, because it's keen to remember that for the longer term of things, as other coins, excluding really the top 10 are the ones that they have here in CoinMarketCap, we're going to see more market dominance in these other projects. You just have more cryptocurrencies, more exchange listings, more opportunities, and more excitement around these projects, and much more room for growth comparative to that of Bitcoin and market leaders. So because of that, it's quite understandable that over time, other coins are going to gain. And if we're just around here towards December levels around 24%, we might go all the way up to around 30% over the next run up, or maybe 35%. We'll have to see, though. And it's understandable as well, because Bitcoin is at lower levels. So let's go ahead here, take a look first and foremost at Bitcoin here, because I think many people are curious more than anything about where I stand on Bitcoin. As we all know, Bitcoin leads the trends here, guys, and whether or not Bitcoin is finally in the, setting up for a run up here, or currently still possibly accumulating and looking for more downside, is very important to ask. Well, I got to say right off the bat, guys, things are looking much, much more positive. We've not only gotten a resilience of institutional volume. If we take it down here to the hourly, we can see some pop-ups where there's been some huge volume, especially the one back here on April 12th, where we really started to see some serious upside in price action, and it has continued over the past few days. So not only has the volume been really sound, but along with that as well, we've gotten out of two really kind of bearish slash kind of sideways accumulating signals. We've gotten out of the downtrend in price action for Bitcoin, which is good. And along with that as well, we've seemed to have broken out of the accumulation period, which I'll be honest, I thought was going to last a little bit longer until we really started to test the downtrend line down here. But with that big buy-in volume on the 12th of April, it's obvious that we're starting to see some more resilience and optimism in markets. So what am I looking out for here, guys? What's my kind of take on this? Well, I'm not going to just go full bull swing yet, as much as my portfolio has been definitely going up in the green, and I know many people out there have started to regain confidence, especially with the increase of volume. But more than anything, guys, I want to stay neutral and objective here, and I want to make sure that this is going to be a long-term run-up. So what am I doing? Well, I'm currently looking out for one simple thing, and that's the fact that we're not only going to possibly see some more solidified resistance here at 9,000, but also hopefully test to see if we can get support at 8,000. Now, why do I believe this? Well, first and foremost, in regards to resistance at 9,000, 9,000 has been a very important level for Bitcoin over the past few months. If we take a look back here in early February, it served as support before more downside. It served as resistance before a pop up to the upside. We saw support here as well as resistance, and also what appears to be resistance again here in mid-April. So what I think is going to happen hopefully here, and I think this is going to be healthy for the long-term uptrend of Bitcoin. If this is the case, if we're ready to see the upside, and I wouldn't doubt it because I think the fundamentals are quite sound right now, I think what we're going to see is a turnover here towards down towards 8,000, and not only with that, but I think you're going to find support here on what was the resistance line for the accumulation period, but also support on the 50-day moving average. That would be very healthy for Bitcoin here, guys. I can tell you, if we got that and we got a curvature off that level towards the upside and really some buy side action coming in from big investors, as we've seen over the past few days, I think that would be really healthy for Bitcoin and really solidify that we might be going through a similar run-up that we saw back in 2017 through April, May, and June. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen here, guys. We'll have to see if we just keep moving. It might be trucking along, but I think that's the case. I think we need some cool down after going up from around 6,600 all the way up to 8,800 for Bitcoin. Definitely been a great run-up so far. So let's go ahead and run through some of these market leaders here, guys. First and foremost, Ethereum. Really not much to watch out for here. I think Ethereum definitely has recovered much like other coins. Congratulations to it. But I want to make clear that we're seeing some resistance here at previous support in the past here. So what I'm looking for here, guys, even though we're above the 200-day and the 50, is that we come back down, find support on this level around 6,500,000 Satoshis, and possibly curve back up to retest 7 million Satoshis. It's a big level. But I gotta say, in regards to the kind of longer term perspective of things, it is definitely at a nice discount level, sitting generally around 6 million Satoshis, 6 million to 7 million Satoshis is definitely a nice discount comparative to the highs we saw back in December. But we're still very high up comparative to the lows we saw back in December as well. Or sorry, the highs back in February. My apologies. But again, we still are holding a large level of market dominance here. And with, again, more players coming into what I call the protocol wars, I can't wait to get that speech up that I gave in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where I talk about that. There definitely is some starch competition coming into markets. But nonetheless, excitement in regards to enterprise platforms for blockchain technology. So let's go ahead here, run through some players you already probably know how I feel about, guys. I got to say, got to give it credit. You know, Ripple, just like other players, has been doing well. Bounced off of the 200-day moving average. Comparative to what it did in the past here, as we take a look here on Bittrex, where we saw a collapse through in resistance at the 200-day. So we might see Ripple hold generally on the 200-day moving average. And the reason I say that is because, again, guys, altcoins are going to hold larger levels of dominance in the market, which means that comparative to Bitcoin, they're going to hold higher levels. So I don't know if that's the case for Ripple. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be buying it up here. I would wait till it finds support on the 50-day or 200-day before I even touch it. But again, at this moment, you guys know I'm not a big fan of Ripple. Don't really hold any personally. So let's go ahead here, take a look across the board here. We can see that Bitcoin Cash has been getting a big run up. We'll be talking about some news that came out in regards to Bitcoin Cash over the past few hours. But nonetheless, if we take a look here at our wedge, we can draw it across the board and still see that we're nowhere close to getting back in that range. So because of that, I currently think at the moment, this is a little bit hyperinflated in regards to price. Not downplaying Bitcoin Cash, but again, really haven't seen the adoption in regards to transaction volume, as we'll take a look at in regards to the news later on. So going on here, taking a look at a few more market players here. Litecoin, again, still seeing resistance at the 50-day, guys. The narrative has not changed. I still think we got to come down to the 200-day moving average, see what it does there. If it breaks through, we might be down back to 1 million Satoshis, but I'm not going to play that bearish until we see a breakdown through the 200-day. Let's go ahead here, take a look at some other market leaders. ADA BTC, accidentally typed in ADA BTFC. But I guess you could, instead of buy the fucking dip, you could say buy the fucking coin. And in this case, Cardano is looking very, very nice here. I'm hopefully waiting for it to see a little bit of a correction here. We have gone up about 1,500 Satoshis from the support level at 2,000. So because of that, I'd like to see some support at the 200-day or 50-day moving average. Again, a little bit of correction in these guys. If we see Bitcoin coming down from 9,000 to 8,000, I think you're obviously going to get it. It's going to be healthy. It's going to solidify support. But again, Cardano still looking nice here. I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm long-term on Cardano. I'm definitely going to be adding more if we find an opportunity for this to find support on the 200-day moving average. But right now, I've already got a pretty decent size in the project. Let's go ahead here, take a look at Icon. Icon again gaining here, but looking like it possibly wants to come back down to that the 50-day moving average that is curving back up. If we get that again, I think we could possibly get over this hoop, which is not only previous support, but also serving as resistance at around 4,700 Satoshis. So keep an eye on that. Icon, again, much like all the other protocols, still relatively cheap in this market comparative to a lot of players, but I think we might possibly see this correct a little bit after the upside. So I want to take a look here at a few other players, Ontology, and I want to take a look as well at Wanchain. These were two that I've kind of higher amount of requests for. I've been keeping an eye on these two for the past few weeks, guys. I was excited for these projects to hit market. We even talked about Ontology back here when it was down here around 1,500 Satoshis. But my whole kind of consensus with this is that if we do see a continued correction in altcoins, guys, I think we're going to see a few more days of this taking some downside. I would really love to see Ontology here come down to around 3,500 Satoshis because it would be a great split from 7,000 Satoshis, a nice 50% correction, and generally around where we saw resistance in the past. So I think that's going to be the case for Ontology. If we get that or anything close to it, I definitely will be looking to add a position and hold for the long term. But at the moment, not doing anything too crazy, waiting patiently. And the same goes for Wanchain here. Wanchain having a successful listing on Binance, going through the ICO reversal pattern, much like Ontology, continuing to climb up. But it looks like we're finally starting to get a little bit of correction here, a little bit of sideways price action. I would like to see this come down a little bit, but I feel like Ontology and Wanchain are going to have an Omise Go style run up, guys, where honestly, as much as I wanted a correction, I think we're possibly going to see this just continue to rip up. But I think we need a little bit of correction, not too much, just something down to around 6,000 to 5,000 Satoshis. That'd be really healthy for it. We'll have to see though. Again, you got to play your bets in regards to what you want to bet on in regards to the market. And I'll go ahead and talk about two more here, guys, because, again, I've got to make up for a few days here. EOS testing a very, very important level here, guys. Testing around 130,000 Satoshis at its peak here. Again, seeing if we can break above here with Dawn 3.0 and all the upcoming exciting stuff for EOS. Again, I like the project long-term, and really a lot of the stuff that I've learned about EOS has kind of woken me up in regards to the ambitions behind the project, so I'm definitely taking a more positive tone to it. But again, we're really going to have to see. It's much like Litecoin in the past, guys, comparative to Bitcoin, if it can break towards those previous highs of the past. You're playing a big bet here if you're buying up at these highs after EOS has gone up from around 53,000 Satoshis all the way up to 123,000. So again, played safe. XLM BTC, the last one here we're going to take a look at. I think XLM BTC has had a great run up just like Ripple, but we need to see this come back down and find much more rational price action. Maybe around 3,500 Satoshis as it served as support here in the past so many times. So that's it generally for market price, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about some of these headlines here. A big one that many people have been asking me during the time when I got out of my flight, I saw a lot of people were asking me about Bitmain's decision to burn 12% of Bitcoin Cash transaction fees and calling on other miners to follow. So really, I want to talk about what this means and why Bitmain is particularly trying to do this. So when Bitmain is talking about burning 12% of Bitcoin Cash transaction fees, they're discussing the fact that in regards to Bitcoin Cash, in regards to mining Bitcoin Cash, they're going out of their way to deduct 12% of the transaction fees that they collect and put it into an address that will never be touched. It's what's known as burning coins. You probably heard about it when Coins announced that they're going to do a burn supply of 1/4 or 1/5 of their supply, and obviously the price always has a jump to the upside. Well, this is what Bitmain, I think, objectively is trying to do. It's trying to build a sense of scarcity. And they believe that if you go through the article, they talk about how it's important to have the sense of scarcity and have the sense of need to hodl the currency for its value to continue rising. And they are doing this because they believe that Bitcoin Cash, not only have they obviously been mining Bitcoin Cash to some degree, but along with that as well, they believe the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem and the blockchain behind it and transaction volume is going to continue increasing. However, nonetheless, I think this is, in the short term, going to be probably a little bit positive for price action, and I think it's already been probably priced in. I don't really think it's going to garner much traction, and along with that as well, I really don't see the point in regards to Bitmain doing this. It seems kind of arbitrary, and here's why I say this. One, 12% transaction fees from Bitmain is a lot, but it's not so much in the grand scheme of Bitcoin Cash. Okay, there's other mining pools, and if other people don't follow suit, 12% of transaction fees being put into some random address is really, to me, just seeming like money just getting dished out, and doesn't really seem productive for those who are mining cryptocurrencies. I don't think many people will do that either to build scarcity. It's how they make their income as miners. But along with that as well, I really want to spend some time to talk about, Bitmain, talking about the ambitions of Bitcoin Cash taking off, because as much as I believe, and this is something, I'm going to stand here in defense of Bitcoin Cash, whereas a lot of people would probably disagree. I think Bitcoin Cash is being used by as more of a merchant payment system than Bitcoin at the current moment, because of the fact that we saw Bitcoin transaction fees go up to $30 or $40 in December. And I don't think Bitcoin should ever be there. In fact, I don't mind raising block size to 2 or 4 or 8 megabytes. Okay, so I think that the argument against that is silly. At the same time, though, we are not seeing Bitcoin Cash by any means grow as a network. Now, you can argue as well that Bitcoin transactions have obviously been down a little bit over the past few months, obviously because the price has been down, less people are trading and purchasing Bitcoin and shifting it between exchange accounts. But Bitcoin Cash isn't seeing some mass retail adoption as a payment solution. Along with that as well, the blocks that I want to take a look at here, if we go, trying to look here, where is it? A block size, there we go. I don't know why I was missing it there for a second, but if we take a look here, block size isn't even getting close to its 8 megabyte limit for Bitcoin Cash, so there's a lot of empty blocks being mined in regards to Bitcoin Cash. So not really on the project itself, but I don't really see the need for this. I think more than anything, they should focus on their narrative of really pushing this to be a merchant payment solution. If Bitcoin obviously doesn't seem like it's fitting that. Again, the fees are low on Bitcoin Cash. It's looking fine as a merchant payment solution, and I think it can scale to the current moment and the current demand. But again, not really seeing why Bitmain is doing this. It just seems like a little bit of short-term hype. So going on to some more exciting news in regards to developments in the space, IOTA has demonstrated a new partnership that they have with a real-world use case in regards to electric vehicles. So as we all know, IOTA is focusing on the machine-to-machine, almost kind of the peer-to-peer, machine-to-machine economy, where autonomous different vehicles and machines will be able to do transactions in business with one another. And this is really one of the first serious use cases we see with a smart vehicle charging station. So as we go through here, we can see that this is really one of the first examples where IOTA really gets to test in regards to applications for the Internet of Things. We can see in the Netherlands, there was an electric e-vehicle charging company that was going out of its way to build a system where basically, in this case, they did a test of one of the little small Tesla cars. This is something that Tesla gives out sometimes to Tesla holders and for people and families who have a kid or something. But they basically showcased that with this charging station, they were able to have a plug that could plug into the electric vehicle, and through the vehicle itself, as well as the charging station, they were able to do a transaction between one another autonomously with IOTA's Tangle framework. So this is definitely interesting. It's good to see that at least it seems that IOTA's systems are working with real world applications. Again, it's important to see the innovation actually take it into the forefront rather than just live in the conceptual basis that we're going to live in a machine-to-machine economy one day. It's good to see that this is actually showing some use case. Now, again, as always, guys, I know IOTA gets a lot of crap, and I've been skeptical on it myself, but again, got to give hats off to it. Good to see this application. Hopefully it's functioning and we're getting the transparency that they're currently stating here, that it is working and that it was a successful use case. But I'd like to hear what you guys think down below in regards to this, in regards to the development for IOTA. Do you think this is a big development? Along with that as well, what do you guys think about the Bitcoin Cash and Bitmain 12% transaction fee burn? I'd like to hear what you guys think about that as well. I really think it's going to be something more short-term rather than long-term for Bitcoin Cash and doesn't really help with development. But I'd like to hear what you guys think down below, as well as where you stand on current markets. But thank you guys, as always, for dealing with me when I'm a little bit sick. As you all know, I love doing my daily updates. I'm a little bit jet lagged. It's been a lot of flying. I missed out on a few days, but I'm back here in action, ready for you guys, doing content as always, and keeping you all up to date on all the latest news in regards to cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.